Hi everybody, we're looking at pages 12 and 13 today of the theory. We're looking at ties, which are curved lines that connect two of the same notes together, and dots, which go after musical notes such as crotchets and quavers, etc., to extend the value further. So to start with ties, make sure you read the information at the top of page 12, and as it says there, they are curved lines that link together two of the same pitched notes. That's the important thing to remember, that the notes need to be the same. So for example, they're going to be an E and an E next to each other. They're going to be a B and a B next to each other, okay? So for example, if I had a quaver, a minim B and a minim B that was tied together like that, it would be one note that would last 4 counts because we're adding the two minims together. Similarly, if I had two crotchets next to each other with a tie, it would be worth 2. So for example, if we saw a minim that was tied to a crotchet, so the note was the same, but they were tied together, we would sing or play that note. That note would be played for 3 counts because obviously 2 plus 1 equals the 3. Have a go at these ones. So we've got a semibreve tied to a minim. How long would that last for in total with the tie? And we have a crotchet tied to a quaver. So add the two values together, what would they total? Okay, so let's look at the first one. Semibreve is 4, minim is 2, so that's 4 plus 2 equals 6. We have a crotchet tied to a quaver, which would be 1.5 because our crotchet is worth 1. Our quaver is worth 1/2, so 1.5 in total. So when we see notes that are the same, that are joined together, that is a tie, okay? A dot, when we add a dot to the end of a note, so we add half of the value again. So for example, if a beat was a crotchet and it was worth 1, we know crotchets are worth 1. If it was a dotted crotchet, you would add half of 1 again. So you add half the value, the original value again. So for example, let's look at these values and work out what their dotted equivalents would be. So starting from the top, semibreve is worth 4. Minims are worth 2, crotchets are worth 1, and quavers are worth 1/2. So if we added a dot to each of those notes, so they'd look like this, what would they be worth? So think about the original value, and then what's half of that original value added again. Okay, we'll go through the answers now. So the dotted semibreve is going to be worth 6 counts because half of 4 is 2, so it's 4 plus 2. A dotted minim is 3, a dotted crotchet is 1.5, a dotted quaver is worth 3/4 of a beat. Okay, let's just go through the maths to work out why. So half of 4 is 2, so 4 plus 2 is 6. Half of 2 is 1, so 2 plus 1 is 3. There's your dotted minim. Half of 1 is 1/2, so 1 plus 1/2 is 1.5. Half of 1/2 is 1/4. So the dotted quaver therefore equals 3/4. In context of the booklet today then, let's have a look at the top. We're going to look at the first example. Now, I've just circled at the top there, sound the same. You're always looking for notes that are the same. So in exercise C, where there's the note that looks the same, there are 2 next door, and they need to be the same note. So there they are. So my E, treble clef, so it's going to be an E. They're the same notes, so I can tie them together. So how many is that worth now altogether? We've got a minim that's worth 2, a crotchet that's worth 1. So how many altogether? 2 plus 1 equals 3. So with those exercises there, you need to find together, you need to find the same note that's next door to each other. And you can tie more than one note. So you can tie 3 notes together. That will help with letter E. Just giving you a heads up on letter E, okay? So exercise 2 with the dots on page 13. In the example, we originally had, we've got a 4/4 time signature, so we need 4 crotchets in the bar. We originally had a minim that was only worth 2, but they've added a dot to it to make it worth 3, okay? Adding that crotchet as well gives us a total of 4 beats. Okay, exercise A then. 2/4, so there's 2 crotchets in a bar. At the minute, we've only got a crotchet that's worth 1 and a quaver that's worth 1/2. So how many short are we? It's maths. So we've got 1.5, we need to make it 2, we are short of a half. So where are we going to add a half value? Okay, we need to add it to the crotchet, because if we add it to the quaver, it still won't equal 2. Okay, so we add a dot to the G crotchet there, making us have 1.5 on the first note, half on the second note, which equals 2 altogether. Like I said, loads of this is maths, okay? Let's look at exercise 3 and the example to start with. So we're having to put the bar lines in where we have where the bars are full of the beats. So the example is 3 beats in a bar, okay? We've got the crotchet rest to start with, which is 1, and then our second and third beats, our 2 beats there for the minim. So there's the bar line. Next bar is a dotted minim, so it's 3 bar lines there. Next one, we've got 1, second beat there, our dotted quaver, which is worth 3/4, and we've got our semi-quaver, which is worth 1/4. Therefore, it totals 3. There's the bar line. Next bar, dotted minim, 3. There's the bar line. And don't forget, ties go over bar lines. They often do go over bar lines. It doesn't stop the value of the bar line, of the bar, or the measure in total. I'm just going through there and showing you where the totals are. So, starting A together, always start with the time signature. It's 2/4, 2 crotchets in a bar. First crotchet is worth 1, as we know. Dotted quaver, 3/4 of a beat. Semi-quaver, 1/4 of a beat. So it's put in the first bar line there for you. Next one, we've got a dotted crotchet, worth 1.5. We've got a quaver after it, which is worth how much? A half. So there we have our total of 2. Yep, 1.5 plus a half equals 2. So therefore, we need to put in our bar line. So vertical line goes through the stave. You know what they look like and how to draw them, okay? Now the final bar line is shown for you at the end of the music. So you just need to make sure that everything in between totals up to 2.